Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? People are asking me how it is that the gold standard that Russia is implementing is going to affect currencies everywhere. Well, I'm going to just give you an oversimplified version of how it affects Russian rubles, how it affects the gold market, and in return affect other currencies. Okay, again, it's just an oversimplification, but it gives you an idea of how this works anyways. Before we get started, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. Speaking of gold and silver, right now is a good time to either be buying rubles, silver is king, and gold, because we're going into the gold standard, and there's going to be a huge demand for gold. And when you go to buy your gold and silver, go check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free half ounce of silver. So this little tidbit right here was sent to me, and I read over it, and I'll share it with you. There are some things in here that need corrected. I'll correct them a little bit. But first, let's go over what this person's trying to say. Neon Revolt says, I don't think people realize what just happened over the past few days. So I'm going to try to explain what I'm seeing. The Russian central bank pegged 1 gram of gold to 5,000 rubles. Okay, so here's what you got to really pay attention to. So they're taking 5,000 rubles despite the exchange rate to the US dollar. That doesn't matter. It's a set 5,000 rubles. They have pegged it to 1 gram of gold, not the value of the gram of gold, but just the weight of 1 gram. That's important, so you understand this. At the same time, Putin made it so that Russian gas and oil can only be purchased in rubles. Basically, he just pegged Russian oil and gas to the gold, using paper rubles as a proxy. Europe will need to either buy rubles from Putin in gold in order to buy gas and oil, or they will have to buy directly in gold, which means they will soon be a lot more demand for rubles. So my guess is those countries who are trying to act like they're honoring the sanctions and want to take advantage of the discounted oil, they're most likely going to use gold to purchase the oil, because if they buy rubles, that's going to be picked up on. I'm guessing. Currently, the forex rate for rubles to dollars is about 100 to 1. So close, but not quite. But with 5,000 rubles now equaling 1 gram of gold and oil being priced directly in gold, you're going to see a massive price disruption in the forex markets. Yeah, I believe that. Because you see, those currencies who don't follow Russia and peg their currencies to gold are going to be less valuable against the ruble. And people are not going to want to invest in those currencies because they're not going to have the same type of value. So basically what's going to happen is, in order for you to stay in the ball game, you're going to have to peg your currency to gold like Russia is doing. This is going to level out the playing field. Those currencies that are less valued are going to have to revalue and match what the heck is going on. So countries that are rich in oil, like Vietnam, Venezuela, Iraq, this is going to affect their currency. If they're smart, they do the same thing that Russia is doing. Right now, at the current price of gold, peg their currency to gold and demand that their oil be paid in their local currency and get away from the petrodollar. That will strengthen their currency. This would help the Iraqi people who are suffering after the devaluation of the Iraqi dinar. The same over there in Vietnam. Although their government likes the devalued currency, so the labor rate is cheaper and more companies open up businesses there in Vietnam. In terms of how much gold a dollar can actually still buy, foreign countries holding our dollar debt notes in reserve will see less of a use for them and will want to start dumping them in order to get something more stable, something which holds its value. Yeah, they're not going to want to hold on to the US dollar, allies or not. So you're looking at the death of the dollar. It's not going to be the world reserve currency anymore unless they actually go to the gold standard. But like I said, I really felt like there were some people in office trying to help kill the dollar. So most likely you won't see us go to the gold standard, not right away. They're going to let everybody here suffer. Yep, that's what's going to happen. And they'll use every excuse in the world as to why the markets look like crap, why we have no food, why we're starving, until people rise up and do the right thing and implement their constitutional right to divorce this government and implement a new one, which will have a deflationary effect on the ruble, making it more valuable over time, which means Putin will be able to repay the ruble to gold at whatever rate he wants down the line. It's 5,000 rubles today. Tomorrow might be only 500, and then 100, and then 10. Sure, he could do that, but he has to be really strategic about it. This also means that all the excessive dollars being dumped by foreign nations are about to come home and cause even worse hyperinflation than we're seeing, which is true. So, the smart thing for this country to do, this administration, the Federal Reserve, would be to peg the dollar to gold, and then as the dollars come back, destroy the dollars. Yes, take them out of circulation, and then strengthen our currency all over. Is it any wonder Biden is up on stage pleading with Europeans for regime change in Russia? He's about to have masses of angry and starving people marching through the streets here at home demanding answers. You're dang right. And that's why you see Obama, whose third term this is, get out of his house where he's been running this administration and actually show up in the White House and take back control. I told you this is Obama's third term. You should have known by the policies that were being implemented and the people that are part of Joe Biden's administration. So let's take a look at this. So currently on our exchange rate for every one Russian ruble, it cost us just over a penny, 0.013. The 5,000 rubles that they're talking about right now in the exchange against the US dollar would cost us approximately $63.09. Keep that in mind. Something else to take in consideration, it says the economics of supply and demand dictate that when demand is high, prices rise, and the currency appreciates in value. And obviously, if the currency appreciates in value, then what? The exchange rate changes in favor of Russia. Why would countries take money out of circulation? Naturally, it becomes harder to maintain the same standard of living. For this reason, central banks in developed countries usually try to keep inflation under control by indirectly taking money out of circulation when the currency loses too much value. Well, that's what's going to be happening here in the United States. As Russia is in the gold standard, our currency is going to go down in value with other countries who see a more stable currency to invest in, especially one that is supported by gold. And if they're dumping our dollars, that means we have to take them out of circulation, or else we're going to be dealing with some serious inflationary numbers. Now, here you go. These are just hypothetics. It's just simplified to give you an idea of what's going on. Remember, 5,000 rubles, no matter what the exchange rate is at the time, is pegged to 1 gram of gold. Despite the value of the gold, that doesn't matter. It's the weight versus a set dollar amount, which is 5,000 rubles. And why that matters is, let's go over here. As people buy the rubles, giving more money to Russia, whose central bank then is purchasing gold, we know right now there is a silver and gold squeeze happening. There's not a lot of gold and silver, you guys. That's why I'm saying hang on to yours, because it's going to skyrocket. No matter how much manipulation happens, Putin moving into the gold standard is going to expose all the corruption taking place over in the COMEX. And so when the COMEX and the LBMA are all exposed for using paper and not having a metal there to support the paper that they had out, you know, the doo-doo is going to hit the fan. Somebody's going to have to be accountable for this. I think this also is going to hurt definitely the reputation of the United States and as well as London, despite the fact that everybody knows that the paper market is being used to manipulate the market. They just choose to turn a blind eye. But once the truth comes out and the masses start to hear about this, somebody's head's going to have to roll. So here's what happened. As people buy the rubles, the money is being used by the Russian central bank to buy gold. There's already a short out there, like I said, in physical gold. Countries out there will have an opportunity to directly swap gold for the rubles or their currency for the rubles. And in return, they take that currency, the central bank does, and buys more gold. And then that strengthens the rubles even more. See how this works? So let's go on this hypothetical. As it stands right now, we know that the 5,000 rubles are being pegged to the 1 gram of gold. The 1 gram of gold right now is 63.09. That gives them a current exchange rate to the US dollar at approximately 0.012. It's actually 0.13, but you get it, it's in the ballpark. See how this works? Well, if the price of gold goes up, well, so does the value of the gram of gold. Remember, it's 5,000 rubles are pegged to the weight, not the dollar. So if the gram goes up to $68 a gram, well, then there you go. With your 5,000 rubles, your exchange rate is now 0.0136. It has increased approximately 10%. If gold goes up to $74 per gram with the 5,000, you're looking at an exchange rate of approximately 0.0148. That's up another 10%. The exchange rate will increase for the Russian ruble as the value of gold goes up. Well, Putin's going to be selling oil at a discount, making it irresistible to countries. They're going to buy the rubles. And if they have to, they're going to swap gold. Either way, it doesn't matter. Gold is in play, and because it is, and there's a shortage, the value of gold is going to go up. You can see here if gold goes to $74 a gram, $83 a gram, $90 a gram, $95 a gram. What doesn't change is the amount of rubles that are pegged to the gram. That's still 5,000 each time. It doesn't matter. It's still pegged to the gram. And although the gram's going up in value, all that does is increase the value of the ruble. So now the exchange rate, when it's at $74, makes it at 0.0148. When gold at $83 a gram, then you're looking at an exchange rate of 0.0166. If it gets up to $90 a gram, then you're looking at 0.0180. $95, you're looking at 0.019. What does this mean? Well, as the value of the ruble increases, then the exchange rate changes, which means it now costs more money to buy the same 5,000 rubles. And that extra money goes to the central bank of Russia, who turns around and buys more gold. So we go up here. So you have your 1 ruble. See this right here? When you swap it for the American dollar, we know when it first started, this gold standard, it was 1 ruble for 0.013. That's just over 1 cent. That was the exchange rate. But watch what happens as it increases. 1 ruble increases to 0.0143. What happens if it increases to 0.0157? What happens if 1 ruble can be exchanged for 25 cents or 50 cents? Or if it goes 1-to-1 with the US dollar, because US dollars lose in value as the ruble goes up in value based on supply and demand. So we still have the same 5,000 rubles. That hasn't changed, regardless of the exchange rate. And we still have the 1 gram of gold. So what do we have here? When at the current rate, 5,000 rubles will cost you approximately $65. If the rate increases to 0.0143, well then now 5,000 rubles cost you $71.50. If it increases to 0.0157, that same 5,000 now costs $78.50. If you can exchange the Russian ruble for one Russian ruble for 25 cents. Well, that $5,000 now becomes 1,250. If the exchange rate is at 50 cents, then you're looking at $2,500 for the same 5,000 rubles. And if it goes one for one, well, then it costs 5,000 for 5,000 rubles. Just to show you the difference in the values based on the change in exchange rate, look how much gold they're able to buy. At the current rate, remember, they get about a gram. When it goes up to 0.043, well, now they get 1.13 grams. As the exchange rate changes and the ruble becomes more valuable, this allows them to buy more gold, putting a stress on the gold supply because Russia's just buying it up. They force everybody to use their currency because a lot of countries, unfortunately for them, have no choice. They're locked into it. There's no alternative. So they have to do what Russia wants. Meanwhile, there's going to be a flood of currency, foreign currency that is, and gold coming into the country because they're going to take that currency, turn around and swap it and buy more gold. This is a great way for them to strengthen the value of the Russian ruble being on the gold standard. Now, Russia's oil is pegged to gold, which is a smart move. And since Russia's discounted their oil, that means more people are going to want Russian oil, not the more expensive oil. So why would people go to Venezuela? Why would people go to Vietnam? Why would people go to Iraq or Saudi Arabia to buy oil when they could get it from Russia for much cheaper? Well, that means these other oil countries are going to have to do one or two things. Either they're going to sit back and take major losses, and it's going to affect their economies, it's going to affect the value of their currencies, or they'll wise up and do the same thing that Russia did. Revalue their currency, peg it to gold just like Russia did, and demand that everybody using their local currencies. So if you're going to buy oil or gas from Iraq, you're going to have to buy it using the Iraqi dinars. So that's going to increase the value of the Iraqi dinar. Think supply and demand. And in return, Iraq can do the same thing, buy more gold, and definitely, without a doubt, build up the private sector, getting more people back to work. The extra money will allow them to do what? Not only buy more gold, you can rebuild your country's infrastructure. You can modernize it. You can buy more military weapons. You can strengthen your country's defense. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you have more money because you are in the gold standard and your currency is in demand and everybody's exchange rate against yours is changing. They're going to need more of their currency in order for them to buy Russia's currency, making them a very strong country. Only those countries who move into the gold standard along with Russia are going to be able to survive this. You're going to have a lot of proud countries and leaders of these countries out there being stubborn, trying to figure out how the hell they can stop this. While taking out Putin is the goal. They're going to try like hell to kill this guy and stop this. Now keep in mind, Putin has set this where it is right now until June. We have no idea what he's going to do in June. He might change things. He might turn around and say instead of 5,000, maybe you get 4,000 to the 1 gram of gold. Who knows what he's going to do? Maybe he discounts the price of oil even more, make it even more irresistible, causing countries everywhere to turn to Russia for oil and gas because it's too hard to pass up. Turn around and strengthening the economy and the currency of Russia, allowing them to take that extra currency from people who are buying their oil and gas and buy more gold, create more military weapons. So the fall of the empire is the fall of the United States, whether it's being planned this way or not. But it looks like Russia going into the gold standard first, the real gold standard, is going to continue to strengthen unless everybody else changes around the same time. So Russia is essentially forcing the world to go into the gold standard, which then restricts the amount of money being printed by these countries and limits the power of our government. That's lowering the boom on the Great Reset. The destruction of the US dollar was planned all along. They wanted us to falter and go into the central bank digital currency is what they want. So whether this is part of that plan or not, we're going to find out. All I know is in June coming up, if Putin is still alive, we're going to find out what his plans are for June. And something tells me it's going to increase the speed in which we convert over to the gold standard. That's for sure. Anyways, you guys, that's just oversimplifying how this works. Obviously, the price of gold changing is going to affect the exchange rate for Russia, and supply and demand is going to affect the exchange rate for Russia. Either way, it increases in value, causing more countries to spend more of their dollars to buy the rubles, in which Russia can use to buy more gold, rebuild their infrastructure, strengthen their military, and advance in technology. Anyways, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.